Welcome back. The increasing tensions between Israel and Iran may have significantly repercussions for the travel and tourism industry in the Middle East. In response to these tensions, several nations, including Canada, France, India, and the United States, the Netherlands, Germany, and Australia, have issued travel advisories. These advisories recommend against travel to the region, particularly to Israel and Iran, potentially leading to a downturn in both tourism and business travel. And to have the conversation on Israel and Iran conflict, the implication on economy and tourism, our guests over here in the Enugu studio, Dr. Chima Chidubem, a public opinion analyst, is going to give us an insight on this impact so far. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Quincy. Good evening.
Pleasure.
It's a big one tonight.
It is. I agree. Okay, just before we got on this conversation, we're talking. I said that what is going on is really deep. Is as deep as the ocean. Is as wide as the ocean. And even till now, most people don't know what is going on between Iran and Israel. People are pushing the propaganda of stopping Iran from building the nuclear weapons that they have. That's what Israel is trying. But it seems bigger than that. It seems bigger than that. So just before we look at the impact it's having on the economy and tourism, can you give us a brief understanding of what is going on between the two warring countries?
All right. Thank you, Quincy. Good evening, viewers. I'm very pleased to be here. You can see we have a burning issue tonight. It's red hot. And that's why I'm on red. To represent what you're speaking of. The issue between Iran, Israel, is dated for years. But before then, I have good news to share with you.
Please go ahead.
If you allow me.
Go ahead.
Yes. I have an express, all expense paid trip that I'm meant to go on. And it's actually sponsored by one of the companies that help us in the health line. And they've given me an all-expense paid weekend.
To Iran?
To Iran.
Oh my God.
And honestly, yes. So, you know, Iran has a lot of tourism sites. They have a lot of picturesque, a lot of attractions. And I feel I should give it to you. You look quite...
no, it's fine, Chima. I'll just stick to my job.
No, you look quite Iranian now. You stick to your job. Why?
I'll stick to my job. It's fine.
It's all expense paid.
I'll report from here. It's fine.
You report from here. It's
exactly.
fine.
It's fine.
It's weekend. So that just summarizes it, Quincy. It's a big issue. Iran is burning. Iran is going down. And the whole issue on ground seems to be two-faced. You have a set of nations saying that we want to put a stop to weapons proliferation around the region and around the world, thereby taking down a world threat, an adamant one for that matter. On the other hand, you have a picture playing out just as a control game, a game to make sure that when we say yes, you agree with yes. When we say no, we all, and you all, must play to a no. So Iran, as we know, is a country rich and blessed with a lot of mineral resources. They are blessed with steel, they are blessed with copper, a lot of mineral resources, particularly uranium. Uranium is a very wonderful mineral resource for nuclear technology, because anything nuclear is not entirely tied down to terrorism or to weaponry. It's employed in the energy sector for electricity. It's employed in the health sector as well. So for over the years, the world powers, in quotes, have struggled to tame Iran, because you would believe me that when you sit on a resource, you begin to dictate who takes part of it, who you sell to. When I come to your shop and you don't like me, you say you're not selling. and it's not a big deal. But now Iran is using those nuclear resources to, as they said, because this is quite diplomatic. This is politics playing out, as well as some convincing going on from both the US, from Israel, and all whatnot. So we have been told that Iran, as it is, has nuclear weapons developed. And the latest information, if you do not know, that led to the attack, because this attack started on Friday almost dawn, and there were leaks, there were intelligence passed that the Iranian regime, currently being championed by Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, who is the GCFR, as we should put it, the commander-in-chief of the Iranian armed forces, would be selling off some of those nuclear weaponry in their nuclear plants to some proxies that will now act on their behalf to use to terrorize the world. So Israel stepped in immediately to stop it, or nip it in the bud, you would say. Now, there is a connection playing out. You can see that Israel, of whom the chief leader is Benjamin Netanyahu, and the United States of America are like twins in this case. So one goes left, the other follows suit. So just before this attack on Iran, the United States of America, President Donald Trump, had issued a warning right to the Iranian leaders, Mansour, the president, and said, we give you 2 months for you to put down all nuclear preparations and weaponry you have with nuclear arsenals. That after 60 days, a lot of things may begin to happen. These attacks,
and that's what is playing out right now.
The attacks started on the day 61 of this warning, of which Mr. President
the propaganda that was pushed about selling it out, they did not confirm that, did they?
Good. Now, that's why we said politics seems to be playing out. You know, in the game of politics, especially world control, when you are able to sell a narrative and sell a propaganda, I'm not saying it's a propaganda, I'm just saying we should all employ our senses of reasoning. When you sell a propaganda and sell it well, you become the newest bride. People dance around. So, it's not been sold. The names of the people these were about to be sold to have not been published. We just heard proxies. So, be that as it may, the main issue is that Iran is burning. Iran is going down. As we speak, not less than 200 persons have been killed. I'll still connect it back to our palace, immediate locality, Nigeria. Because
it seems like we are uninterested.
We are very uninterested because we have a lot of issues
going on already.
More than Iran and Israel combined together. We've lost more lives in this country.
Just in Benue State, we lost about 200 lives. And that's equating to what Iran has lost in a week or less than a week.
There you have it. So let me leave that aside. We'll still come.
We will, absolutely.
So invariably, as we speak, a lot of generals, a lot of commanders in the military setup of Iran are dead. The supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, that controls the armed forces, is in hiding.
I mean, the next thing that was published that he is the next person to go down, the next target to go down.
He has also been given a warning, an ultimatum, to also strike a deal, that this seems to be a second chance to strike a deal with the world powers. Because they know where he is, even though he's hiding in rubbles and all whatnot. So we have a lot of things happening, and even in Israel we've lost lives. Because Iran, when you are at the last stroke trying to hold on to life, You don't care what you grab onto.
Yes. And I noticed that they bombed a hospital in Israel.
Exactly.
They are attacking civilians.
They're attacking everywhere. They just have to shoot everywhere. That's what's going on. So this is a very bitter situation. We have lost lives, we've lost children, we've lost parents, we've lost relatives. Even those that may have come into the country just for one
Tourism.
thing or the other. So it's quite big.
It is, honestly. And it seems we are looking at the implication on the economy and tourism. I was going through social media and I saw a lady. She was crying and lamenting that her flight is being cancelled, so she can't even leave the country. And this is someone that just traveled here for a tour. She came for sightseeing, you know, just to have a little vacation. And I'm worried. People that are being trapped in the States now, in the country, both countries, what is going to be their fate? And I'm sure that we've lost people that don't even stay there in the course of this situation.
Exactly. I was just looking at a report where a certain lady, she just came into the country because her children's school in Tehran, that is the capital of Iran. So she's trapped. She's telling you she's dead scared. There's nothing she can do. So even people in Iran, a lot of them that can't leave the borders, they are just making sure that they leave the capital, which is Tehran, to safety. So you see, tourism has suffered. I just asked you a question. I gave you a free ticket.
A no expense paid trip.
You didn't take it, did you?
I did not.
I wouldn't. Who would? Any threat to life is equal to a ground zero for tourism, a ground zero for economy. So when hospitals are down, even as we speak, there has been a cyber attack on banks. So banks are shut down. Imagine there was a time when we had several days of public holidays in our country, and then people came out to say these public holidays are too much, because they had checked in our stock exchange, in the foreign transactions, and our liquidity in general, revenue. We've lost billions just in those few days. So you can imagine when a nation's entire banking system, banking industry
shut down. Let's look at the economy of the warring countries now. Iran is really rich with so many mineral resources. That even comes to oil. And so it's affected because they are shutting down so many sectors in the country. And of course, the statistics shows that it's already dropping by certain percentage because of these situations. What would you say would be the fate of the economy as it stands now if this continues on the long run?
Okay, I'll give you a picture. Iran, within its economy, you know, the small and medium scale enterprises, they are the engine that drive any economy. 55% of the country's GDP is dependent on internal services and goods. So the GDP, 55% is shut down. What are we left with?
45%.
Now, just in their oil sector alone, they had garnered $5.5 billion, just at about the statistics of, if I'm right, 2007 to 16. And the following year, they garnered $9 billion.
Almost double.
So you can imagine that must have continued to increase. 2 ships conveying oil to various regions on exports have gone down on flames. So I did not tell you how much is lost. Nobody will be willing to buy because your money is going to be lost. You can't even sell because you need human beings to process those services for sending out. So where are we? The country is down. Even neighboring countries It's affecting other countries. Thailand, for instance. Thailand depends richly on tourism. And they depend on Iranians, they depend on Iraqians, they depend on Lebanon and some other countries.
In the Middle East.
Yes, for that tourism. And they have already set up a plan of what to achieve in 2025. How many billions they could achieve from their tourism sector. They were expecting to have 1,060,000 visitors. So you see that target is already down. So if this war continues, we are going to lose even more. Security has gone haywire. Prisoners are escaping. Yes, as we speak, because I've been following this closely. There's jailbreak all over. So that tells you these prisoners, when they leave, where would they go to? They will go to houses. When you refuse to open your house, what will happen?
They break in.
They break in and
interesting. Yeah, just when you were giving your analysis earlier, you had said you were going to wire this down to even Nigeria. I don't know if you forgot to do that along the line, or you still will.
Yes. Nigeria needs to learn. This alone shows us that we have a long way to go. A very long way to go. The Igbo man will say that onye uno ya na agba ọkụ. Kedu ife ọ na-eme? Or that true? When your house is on fire, believe you me, all rats passing by become good friends because you don't care. We need to start focusing on what is important. Other nations are trying to secure the world. We've not even secured ourselves, our immediate surrounding. And that tells you that another lesson, which you could just speak by the side, which is a tricky one though, is certain people believe obedience is when you are an oh yes member. They say yes, it's an obedient person. But when you begin to challenge a status quo and say no, this is not right, this is wrong, you become what? A bad person, a defiant child. So Nigeria needs to learn and know that wherever we are playing oh yes members to, we need to reverse. And reverse diplomatically so that we don't burn. That is just the picture coming up.
Of course, I understand. Looking at what is going on currently, if this war continues, will it possibly drive the global world into a recession?
Well, I don't see that causing a recession.
Okay.
What is going on in Iran, between Iran and Israel? Mind you, it's not just between Iran and Israel. And even as we speak, there some attempts are being made to bring up what you would call a ceasefire. Okay, because Israel has confirmed that Iranian leaders, those of them remaining, and those that seem to have taken up from second in command ship, have been sending messages through people like Italy, Cyprus, to let's have a ceasefire and let's now talk better. But then again, you see that this now has gone into several facets of a regime change. There's an attempt to also remove a regime. So that will
because of how rigid this regime is.
Because of how rigid the regime is, and what it seems to be said to be corrupt. I'm not there. So the regime maybe and all whatnot. So whatever is playing out is becoming more tough. But then it's not going to, I'm not seeing it lead to a recession, because Iran was taken by surprise. And they are being taken down by powerful enemies more than themselves.
I mean, Iran is weak already with the fact that they've had their allies, attacked before now as well.
So Iran is, just as you said, flat out, completely flat out. The only remedy I see is for a negotiation. It doesn't show weakness on their part, but at least to find a way out. But for really affecting the world to the point of bringing us down completely, everybody, no, it wouldn't lead to that, because a lot of powerful nations are up on Iran.
There are propagandas that are being used to push this war. I'm seeing AI as one of it. You see generated videos, and they say this is Iran currently bombing at Israel, attacking Israel. You see another one. It's like it's intentionally used to scare people and escalate the situation.
Well, you have a big point there. The two countries we are speaking of, they are high on technology. That's another lesson for Nigeria. And they are putting those technologies to serious use. I mean, an immense use. What is our Nigerian satellites up to? What are they up to? We have the Minister of Innovation, and we have a lot of persons. They are doing a lot. They need to step up. So now, you see, the AI is a powerful tool, and it could make anybody convinced to believe anything, and then you begin to hate people you shouldn't, and you begin to act out of those hate. But what is important is we need to broker peace, and that peace can only be brokered when the G7 and other world powers, and even those that aren't world powers, will start making opinions. But then again, they will have to do that diplomatically, because some people who do not have the might, weapon-wise, would be careful not to be seen as enemies to certain powerful orders that will still come after them.
Okay, let's look at the tourism impact of this. Israel is known for its tourist scenes and so many other things, that because they have, just as you said, they have a proper view. People go there for pilgrims and so many other things. And on the long term, short term, the conflict on Israel industry is having a whole lot. Is having a huge impact, and even the hospitality care as well, the sector as well, is having a huge impact on it. So what would you say about this particular situation?
As much as I wouldn't want to use it the other way around, Queensley, but I have to be honest. This has both the negative and the positive side.
Okay.
For these people and those people. Let me put. For Iran, it's not looking good. For countries that depend on them tourism-wise, it's not looking good. But for countries like Nigeria, it's looking good, being that people would have to search inward to utilize what they have.
People that have a paid trip already, like you, would have to stay back in the country and look inward.
People that have a paid trip already would willingly put it on fire. Because they want to stay alive.
Of course.
We all want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So, whether I've paid 10 million, 20 million, I would willingly
forfeit the trip.
And tell the Lord to help me gain back my money. Just
like now, I'm sure there are so many other people that have an all expense paid trip, or even have booked their medical and even personal that have booked their tickets and hotel reservations. Airlines are suffering. If you look at the loss on the part of the airlines, they've shut down so many airports now. You can't travel, and money is being lost. People have lost so much money, and adapting to these strategies now, what strategies could they really adapt to in order to remain in business, because you can't run out of business at the end of the day?
Well, there is no strategy to be employed. There really isn't any strategy, because security is the bane of development. Once your immediate surrounding, your immediate neighborhood is not secure, you don't expect anybody to come shopping in your mall. because nobody wants to get robbed. Nobody wants to land in a hospital. So currently, as we speak, the only option is to negotiate a ceasefire. Please let us all sit on the table, which will be quite difficult as well, because I don't see Israel succumbing so easily, because another target is a regime change, a total regime change. Because as I speak to you, even the relatives of powerful members of the Iranian government are fleeing the country.
Even currently.
When you're in power, you know your way around.
That's absolutely.
You know your way around. Some persons, to give you a shock, even Iran had the intelligence that they were going to be attacked. But they received it late for more indication. Because there were messages sent out for Iranians to vacate Tehran. And you can't do that in one night. Neither can you do that in one day. So those who had the information were able to find their way around.
Wow, that's
it's a big chunking. So we need to know that conflict helps none of us. We need to know that a lot of things depend on our immediate environment being secure. For Israel, for instance, Israel is a very rich country. You mentioned pilgrimages. I've wanted to go for one myself. It just didn't work out. And you see a lot of people answering JP, Jerusalem, pilgrims. That is Israel. There are a lot of things that will drive us there, even religiously. Nobody, now as I speak to you, would want to go into that country, even though Israel seems to be having a lesser shock from the entire conflict, because they've employed their the dome and missile interceptions just on the sky very well. So just very few of the rocket launches
has attacked them so
really
far.
hit sites. So
okay,
invariably.
From this part of the world, we are relying on the media to give us an insight of what is happening. And how is the media playing this role, if I must ask? How are they conveying the message? Do you feel that at some point they are exaggerating the entire situation, or they are using the wrong images out there to push a different narrative?
Well, I don't think the media is downplaying what is going on. The media is doing an excellent job. But I would say they are doing, and even the media is doing a more excellent job on external conflicts more than internal conflicts for us, Nigeria. But I'll come out from that. So, because I don't even blame anybody. So, but as it is, the media is showing it as it is. Even scarier than it is. But then, what could be scarier than you seeing rockets and missile flashes just so above your head? You're seeing like 3 missile launches just coming down. You don't know where it's going to hit. We just had a plane crash from Air India. That was very unfortunate. We sympathize with the families of those who lost people and pray for the repose of their souls. So these kind of things, we don't want it to happen again. You mentioned rightly the airspaces around Iran, including Israel. Nobody wants to go around it anymore because anything that is sighted up must come down. So it's not funny in any way. Even countries are advising their citizens to not make travels. So when we talk about even the economy, a lot of revenue will go down. Those that are going to Tel Aviv to get medical care, top-notch medical care, because Israel is quite top-notch on technology and healthcare. So you see that the monies they would have even poured into the country just to get what, they've lost that, because you are not sure if you would be the unfortunate one, even though the dome is there. But some have filtered in. What if you miss your lock?
Exactly.
So you don't even want to gamble.
Okay, how the perception that that the Middle East happens to be the safest for tourism and even international travelers and for your health as well, just as you said.
Yes.
Will this perception change as time goes on?
Completely.
Okay.
Completely. It has changed even as we speak.
I mean, people go to war.
I'll give you an instance. Russia and Ukraine just finished some topples as we speak. And if you do your assessment, you would see that people don't speak as much as Ukraine, as much for Ukraine as they used to. Because even before now, you had Nigerians traveling to Ukraine a lot.
Yes.
Even though a lot of controversies have come up, a lot still struggle to go. I've not heard anybody wanting to go anywhere up till now. Because it's a conflict-torn area and they don't know what to expect next. So it has entirely changed the world perception. Because over the years, even when I was much younger, I'll use much younger, I wouldn't say I'm quite young anymore. So even when I was quite younger, I remember the then president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, whom when they started this nuclear vision, nuclear energy and use, they had been sent a message from Obama. And Obama said, you must stop using making use of those uranium for nuclear projects. You must stop. And the message Ahmadinejad sent off to Obama and the United States was that if you do more than just talk to us, we will bring down the entire United States in just a day. So that is how powerful uranium is. And you know, a lot of persons have lived with that assurance, even within the Middle East, Iran in particular, that a lot of things have happened. Then the US didn't come further on them, and they seem to have taken some other means. So nobody saw this coming. But now, you know, when in Igbo you say, you know, there's mention some people go into the forest to do some rituals and you shoot and you can't get them. Immediately one person shoots and he gets, and they say, you just know that Babalawo, nobody is coming to the market anymore for him. It's all over. That is what's going on. The initial confidence, I'm telling you, has crashed. Because nothing is going to happen, nothing is happening as we speak. Things are happening.
Exactly.
And nobody wants to be the victim. So it's a sad situation. Okay,
so are there like economic incentives that could actually push Israel and Iran to a situation of de-escalation?
Well, economy and money has always played a factor in the entire world, especially for world powers and for control. Now, whomever controls certain resources, certain regions, invariably would be the most powerful person and then the one with
the money.
So when you are able, because it said that the US has its own nuclear weapons, Israel has its own nuclear weapons.
Compared to Iran?
I wouldn't know now. No. But then, the researchers and so on say that these countries have. Now Iran is saying, why can't we?
Right.
What makes you the one with the monopoly of having these very items? So it's a and you see that even the nation of Israel is known as a nation that has armory, military equipments that they even export. So when you're checkmating others, who is there to checkmate you? So you're the most powerful person. You sell this armory, and you know that when in the weapons market, a fellow competitor comes in, and he has this natural resource for nuclear weaponry in abundance, what happens? The market value of your own item begins to drop. Because they will sell cheaper than you. Because even at that cheap price, they are making loads of money.
I mean, they have it in abundance.
It's just under their feet. And they don't need to dig so far. So you can see that competition brings up what? Aggression. Competition spurs opposition to do and undo. So there's a lot of economic power play.
With all this being done, I mean, the beginning of this war was because of the idea that they were selling nuclear, or they were about to sell nuclear weapons to another body. With these things being done, do you think that there will be a pause on the production of nuclear weapons in Iran as well, in order for maybe for other countries not to feel unsafe with them having access to uranium and making the most out of it?
Yeah, you've said it all, Queensley. A pause is already with us. It's in situ. It's on as we speak, because a lot of nuclear weapon plants or nuclear plants have been brought down
in Iran. But the attack that was launched on their military base, it was an underground. It was supposed to go beyond just the surface level, and the weapons were like underground, and it was said that it was not touched. You know, it was not touched. So doesn't that mean that there's still more to come? Good.
When those weapons that have been produced were not touched, the plant that produces it itself that has gone down, what happens? You have to take a long time to put them
build
back
it up again.
And even what you have in stock, how long will it go? But we seem to be neglecting an area. You know, Iran is linked to Hamas. Iran is linked to Hezbollah. So these are groups that we don't even know how far they've shipped a lot to. These are groups we don't even know whom they have taken into hiding, or whom they are grooming, and whom they are talking to as we speak. So, as it is, Iran has been set 2-3 years backwards or more in this nuclear evolution. But then, that doesn't mean they still can't rise up. But then, once a regime topple is achieved, and that regime has less interest in developing nuclear power plants, what happens? You see, the project is naturally dead.
It drops.
So that is why even the crown prince of Iran, who is in exile, I don't know why he's in exile, but evidently he's not in good terms with this present government, President Massoud and the Supreme Leader Khamenei. He's not in good terms with them. He's in exile, undisclosed location, but he's been granting interviews, and he said it continuously that the only solution is a regime change.
And this is why Israel is pushing to eliminate the president, the military leader, because of the rigid system that they rule under. But is this the way out? Won't this actually, put more pressure on Iran to, have come out in a rage with Israel as well?
Iran now is in no position to pose a lot of rage, because the latest incidents is that even those who have taken up commanderships of these very military chapters or groups have been taken down. The last general who took over, I don't think he lasted 4 days, and he was killed. So you see, there is an insistence on stop and make sure there is no reoccurrence. So stop them change the government. And the next government, believe you me, must have been programmed
To dance to the tune. I mean, he who plays the piper dictates the tune.
You said it all. So invariably, you see that a lot of progress will be truncated on that project from Iran.
Is it? Okay, go ahead.
Forgive me. Now, I'm not saying that nuclear weapons proliferation is right. It's a threat to the world, really. But then again, what I'm saying is, there are other ways around it. It may take more time, but eventually it will play out. And there are other pressing issues around the world. Because as we speak, you know, the USAID has been paused for Nigeria. And I'm saying pause because I don't know if it's going to come up again. But then again, currently it's not working. And these are patients living with HIV and AIDS. And they are dying in their droves. Aren't they important? We could channel these monies we are using to launch
do
these
something
wars
else. I mean, we could go on about this conversation. Like we said from the beginning, that it is as deep as the ocean and it is as wide as the ocean.
Even the USAID funds were linked
to it.
To terrorists funding.
Yes.
What has been done about that? They may be doing something. I don't know too much about it.
But we haven't heard yet. Looking forward, because our time is fast spent already. Looking forward, okay. What is?
I'm enjoying.
I am. But
thank you.
We'll have to stick to time. Looking forward, what is the fate of these two warring countries and the world at large if this thing does not come to a stop? Because now the Iranian leader has gone into hiding, and if he doesn't come out and there's no coup, it might continue for as long as it can. So what's going to be the fate of everybody involved in this, and even the world at large?
The world should create a table, verify the truth, and speak the truth. Because I don't know so much of the truth, even though I have a lot of information on what's going on. But the information is guided by what I see, what I hear.
And what is allowed to be out there?
And what is allowed to be out? I don't have relatives in Iran. I don't have relatives in Israel. So the world needs to create a table, because there's no table as we speak. And without a table, there will be no discussion. And without that table, discussions cannot make progress. Because sending messages through proxies and all whatnot, tell them I stayed, you tell them I stayed. Even the person you are sending could get there and say, don't mind them all. I did see the remorse in their face.
We are humans.
They said I should come. They paid me small money. But what can I do? You know? So the table has to be set. Look at me and I look at you. And then we begin to dissect the issues. I tell you the truth, you tell me the truth. So we have the G7. We have the G20. We have the European Union. We have even the African Union, because Africa needs to start finding their voices and say, let us come on the table, without necessarily saying, I'm supporting you, neither am I supporting you, because that fuels the conflict all the more. Because what is going to happen is, we have families whom have lost relatives. We have families whom those generals were their sources of livelihood, were their sources of destiny, contact. And they will never forget. And there could be a lingering lifetime grievance from certain persons who may, or most likely, or some way or the other, hold power in Iran or in Israel. And those grievances will begin to play out against other countries. So, let the world create a table
and have the conversation. Thank you so much.
Sincere.
A sincere one at that. Thank you so much for your input. Our guest is Dr. Chima Chidubem, a public opinion analyst. And our conversation was on Israel and Iran conflict, the implication on economy and tourism. Of course, it was an interesting conversation. If you're just joining us, don't forget to visit our YouTube page and have a replay. It will be uploaded for you. You can always leave your comments and give us an idea of what you think on this particular situation. Thank you so much, Dr. Chima.
Thank you, Queensley. It was a pleasure to be here.
My pleasure as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have a conversation on the medical Japa syndrome.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.